Hi, welcome to the practice questions on being able to simplify correctly before differentiating. What I'd like you to do now is to pause the video and have a go at these three questions on your own. And then when you're happy with your answers, then restart the video and go through the model answers with me. So pause the video now and have a go at questions 1, 2 and 3. Hi, welcome back. What we're going to do now is we're going to go through these three questions, simplifying them first and then differentiating. So we've got a question here, question 1. It's in a format that's got fractions included, it's got roots included, it's got lots of negative powers here. We want to simplify these and try and get all of this onto one line first before we differentiate, because it puts it in a better form to be able to do this. So I'm going to simplify this expression first of all. So here, y is going to equal, well, this one stays as it is. This doesn't need to be simplified, 3x cubed. But when we've now got root x. Now root x needs to be in its powers form, so that becomes x to the half. And then negative 6 over x, we need to get this x to the top here. So that becomes negative 6x to the minus 1, because the x on the bottom is to the power of 1. When we take a letter up to the top here, the power changes from negative to positive or positive to negative, so we get x to the negative 1. Now this is in a much better format. Now we can differentiate it, so write down dy dx, and the first term, 3 times 3 is 9, so this becomes 9x, reduce the power by 1, so it's 9x squared. Second one here, take the half to the front, times it by the 1 that would be there, so this now becomes half x, reduce the power by 1, it goes to the negative a half. You could just write this as x over 2 to the negative a half. And then the last one, negative 1 times negative 6 gives us a positive 6, and reduce the power by 1 goes to the negative 2. Question 2. Okay, same thing, we've got to simplify this. So first of all, y is going to equal, well, this first term again doesn't need to change, that's 5x to the negative 4. But this time we need to bring this term up to the top here. So we get negative 6x. It was a negative power on the bottom, so it becomes a positive power on the top. And then this one we can leave in that form, so that's negative 3x to the negative a half. Now we can differentiate this, so just do this over here actually, dy dx, and this becomes negative 4 times 5, which is negative 20x. The 4 is going to reduce to negative 5. Then 3 times negative 6 gives us negative 18x. Reduce the power by 1 makes it 18x squared. And the last one here, negative a half times 3, well, that becomes a positive, so that's positive 1.5, leave it as 3 over 2 in its fraction form, x, and this power here needs to be reduced by 1, so if you've got negative half and you take 1 away from that, you get negative 1.5, which we leave as negative 3 over 2. Last one here, question 3. This time we've got these 3 terms on top and we've got 1 term on the bottom here. So we've got to divide each of these terms through by x to the negative a half. Now, if you remember your indices laws, what we have is if we've got x to the a, for example, and we're dividing that by x to the b, we take these powers away, we subtract them. So that becomes x to the a minus b, and we're going to use that in all these terms here. So the first one, 6x to the negative 3 over 2, divided by x to the negative 2. That means we've got to subtract these powers. So this is negative 1.5. We take away a negative 2. Negative 1.5, take away negative 2. The negatives will cancel out. So we're going to go back up the number line to positive 1/2. So this becomes 6x to the half. The next one here, we divide x to the 4. Well, 4, take away negative 2. Again, this is going to become positive here. So it's 4 add 2. So we get minus 5x to the 6. And finally, this, remember, would be to a 1. So 1, take away negative 2, puts this one up to a power of 3. Now we're in a form where we can differentiate this. So, sorry, I haven't written the y there. That should be y equals that. So I've simplified, and now we're going to differentiate. So dy dx. dy dx, well, half times 6 is 3. So we get 3x, reduce the power, that's going to go to the negative 1/2. 6 times 5 is negative 30. So negative 30x, reduce the power to 5. And then finally 3 times 1 gives us positive 3x, and we reduce the power to 2. There's our final answer for question 3.